Hello, and welcome to the SisterGirl session. My name is Niecee,
And I'm Voni.
and we have created this show as a space for us to come together, like a women's community, for us to share stories, talk about things that are on our mind, discuss different topics of interest, just whatever we feel that is appropriate in the day and time that we do the recording, to be honest with you. But we appreciate you stopping in. If it's your first time visiting us, welcome. We hope that you will subscribe and engage with us and keep coming back because we're on this Sister Girl journey that's very exciting. And so, with today's topic, what did I have for today? We were going to be talking about beliefs, where they come from and how they affect our life's journey. And we decided to have this show because Bonnie and I, where we do our real life sister girl thing, where we ended up in this deep conversation yesterday morning. It's the Saturday morning over coffee type discussion. And we were talking about different situations that were occurring in our life. And where did it come from? How were we manifesting this in our lives? Why do we have these thought processes? And it evolved into a big old discussion. So we was like, let's take it to the show. Let's talk about it.
Yes.
So we'll dive right into it, and we appreciate you being here. So to get it started, let's just talk about it. When you talk about beliefs and how they impact our lives, the discussion that we were having yesterday kind of evolved around, what were we discussing? It was about how we were showing up in our lives and what the outcomes were and how they impact, how we respond to it and how it impacts us. So the discussion kind of came along and I said, hey, well, I feel like our relationship to everything in the world and how we show up is related to beliefs what our core belief is and how we're going to respond at any given moment. Are we going to be offended? Are we going, let's say, for instance, you hurt my feelings and said some really hurtful things about me. I really wouldn't care if I didn't know you. And it's because I have a belief that you are my sister and that you should treat me a certain way that it will cause me hurt.
But not everybody will hold that same thing, because sometimes people can say things to you that are hurtful. And when I hear the word belief, I view it as, is something taught to you?
Yes.
Or is something in your experience in life that, and it could be environmental, it could be a different thing, but you've had some experience that has caused you to think
exactly
in a certain way. So even for some people, you say, I don't care what other people think about me. That's what I took away from your last comment.
Some people, that was yours. Schmo,
you were like, I don't care what you think.
And everybody don't have that same
That's
belief.
where I was going. Yes. That's exactly where I was going. Now, some people will take that and own it, like, oh, so I don't even know this person, but they said this about me. And that is based in something usually that individual has experienced in their life. That they tend to care about what, as you gave example, either somebody you love or even some stranger saying about you.
Right.
I agree. It's always about, to me, it's about either something we're taught or that we observed. Yes. And you kind of internalized it and it developed as a belief. It can be anything from church, religion,
culture.
Yes. Home environment.
I agree.
Yes.
Because that's what we were kind of talking about yesterday, is that it goes all the way back to your upbringing. And scientific studies kind of talk about your formative ages or 2 to 8. And you are evaluating your environment and deciding how you're going to fit into it. And you're developing these beliefs, which do shift and change over time. But that's where you, a lot of times, develop your core beliefs. And so there's a ripple effect to it because like I told you, what we were talking about is my experience with this breathwork session that I had. I did a breathwork session And
look it up if you don't know about it. We
yes,
will go into it. We won't go deep into it, but
yes,
look it up.
it was called 9D breath work. I was so impressed with it. I went and looked them up, researched it and all that, and became an affiliate. So if you want to check out the SisterGirl Hub, of course, you know, you can go check it out there.
That too. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Just throw that out there. No pressure, no pressure.
But it's there for reference.
It's there for reference.
Okay.
So I was doing this breathwork session, and it was talking about what is holding you back. What are the beliefs that you hold that kind of keep you from showing up as your best self? Bring it forward and explore it. And so when I had the experience, I brought it forward, and it brought me to a time when I was a little bitty child at our grandparents' house, grandma and grandpa, and I was outside at the little berry tree that we used to play at.
Yeah, I don't know about y'all,
but we used to eat them, didn't rinse them off or nothing.
Yeah, we used to eat them off the tree. Now, Mama didn't. Now, when we started seeing bugs and stuff, we did. We started be like, oh no, we gotta go rinse these off. But we did eat the blackberry tree.
I might have had a few bugs because I did used to eat off of that tree.
But go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't get that in there. That was so funny.
But it took me back so viscerally to this particular point in time. And when I was at this blackberry tree, I was at the berry tree, and I was playing and I was eating the berries, and I looked at the house and through the window, and I saw my mother, my father, mama, daddy, grandma, grandpa, Uncle Harold, Uncle Harley, Aunt Marcia, all of my aunts and uncles, mother, father, our family, they were in there like partying, kicking it. And we were.
You don't know the occasion or nothing, but you just know all your people were there. Okay.
Yes. Okay. And so
were we all there, or was it just you in this vision?
In this vision, I didn't have. There usually it'd be a lot of kids
around. Right. But on this
vision, it was just me standing there looking.
All right.
And I remember having a feeling that I felt like that is part of where it had an impact on me on how I approached entertainment and having fun and how I related to fun in my life. Which later on, as I became old enough and became an adult, that's kind of how I took the journey. I learned how to party. This is how you party. This is how you have a good time, is to drink and have fun.
And socialize with each other,
laugh, talk, play cards, play dominoes, dance, talk about some stuff.
It's a good time.
I learned that from.
I think all of us learned that from our parents.
Yes.
We sisters. So that's what we did. We observed that as children. You know, our parents had us at a pretty young age. Mom had me at 18, you at 20. So if you think about that, they were still in their very formative years. Yes. They got married when they were like 17, had to get permission from their parents to be able to even go do that. But they were in their formative years, and that's what we observed.
That's what we observed.
We experienced it in their formative years, like you said. So think about it. If they had us at those ages, they wasn't even 30 yet by the time you even got to 8 years old.
Right.
They wasn't even 30 yet.
Yes. So, and then you think about what we took from that, and you develop a belief. And I will pause and say that a lot of times when you observe your parents doing things, like maybe not at a younger age, but as you get a little older, and you're developing these beliefs, you might decide that you want to do something different. Yeah. So everybody might not react the same and grow up and use that as the way.
Let's talk a little bit about, but why? Why do you make a choice to do something different? Can we dig into that a little bit? Because I know what you're saying. And I know I have certain elements, but again, kind of to my earlier point, you make a conscious decision to say, I'm not going to do what I saw them do, because usually rooted in something that you didn't like.
You didn't like, or it was painful.
It was painful to you. Yes. You decided you're not going to do it.
Right.
Yeah. So there were certain things about, because you remember, some people, we all adults here.
Yes.
People drank before they were 21 or different things.
Smoked the wacky tobacco.
Whatever you were doing. But I was one of those people that I wasn't a fan of alcohol.
Cigarettes.
Now I drink now.
You're the only one of our siblings that
don't smoke cigarettes. I hated them. They used to ask me to go buy them. Asked me to go light them up. I'd burn them up. Mama be like, "You doing it?"
People don't. Well, Mama
cursed. She curse that. She's like, "Yeah, they did." She said, "You doing this shit on purpose?"
Yeah.
You over here trying to burn up my cigarette because they sent us to the stove. We had gas stove. We go there, light it, and I got tired of going back and forth because it wasn't quite lit because she didn't have a lighter or something. But my point is, you're right. I held beliefs about certain things, about cigarettes, drinking, etc., because of certain experiences or feelings that I had based on observing and being in certain situations that didn't make me feel good.
Yes. And then when you think about why were our parents that way? And when we were talking about it yesterday, like I said, that I feel like, especially in the African American culture, it goes all the way back to slavery.
I agree.
And so we had to be a certain way. We had to show up a certain way in order to survive and fit into society.
Right.
And we developed
or to
a
not
lot of
have
thoughts
harm
that I
come
like
to
to
you or be
discuss.
threatened. Or be harmed or threatened. You
Harmed,
had to do
threatened,
certain things. Yes.
Or even your thought processes around money.
Oh, okay.
Because that's one thing that I work on within myself, because we grew up in a poor environment, I developed somewhat of a scarcity mindset. And even when I've been in positions where I was really thriving, and your daughter Jackie and I were talking about this yesterday too, that even when we're at our best, earning really great incomes, you can still find yourself over here like, oh my God, I got to make sure that I can do this. How much am I going to have left? Which is not really being in the flow. And I could thrive in a lot of things, whereas I've been on this journey of discovering myself and showing up
and
as
knowing
my
your
best
thought
self.
Beliefs and all that are impacting.
But the financial part of it and that lack mentality is one of my biggest challenges. And I'm determined I'm gonna overcome this one, because
you're gonna get it.
No. But I had a breakthrough during that breathwork session, and a lot of my core beliefs, that's where I was talking about. It took me back to my upbringing, developed a lot of my beliefs. And when you think about money, like, you flow with it differently. You always have the thought of, I'm always going to have enough, and it's going to show up, and
I don't know how always,
but it shows up in your life anyway.
It's because I believe it. I do. Yes. I do. I don't even have the answers always as to what it's going to be.
And how it's going to be.
But I do believe, because I decided I was going to believe that.
You've been a master manifester for a long time.
Maybe in that respect. In different respects. You think in life. But it would. I won't tell you that I didn't.
You got it all together.
I don't, because I don't. But what I'm saying is like, to your other point, where you make decisions about what you don't want to do and don't want to be, that was part of mine. I didn't want to go, I put it this way, like, be on subsidized programs. I made a conscious decision.
Yes.
I didn't have to.
Yes.
If you need it, do it. No harm, no foul. I believe those things should be there for people. I promise you, I think that we need that. Yes. Okay. In society, we have to go support our fellow man. But if you don't need it, leave it for people who need it.
Yes.
And I had tried to that was one of my things, is that because we did grow up in a very poor environment, and I did feel like sometimes, as it related to when I wanted to dress a certain way or have shoes or do different things, I felt like I walked around with holes in my shoes or different things. That devastated me.
Yes.
So that's
what I decided to do.
I decided that it was like, okay, now I'm not gonna deal with that. I'm gonna do something different, even if it's driven by me. I got the drive and determination to go change how I think about it.
Right.
And that's what I did.
Right.
But even when I was doing it, I'm not going to tell you I didn't get in debt. I'm not going to tell you I didn't make bad decisions about it.
Exactly.
But what I was able to see through that, Vernice, even when I was doing some of those things, because we didn't really get taught financial literacy.
We didn't.
We
were on trying to teach our kids. We need
a little bit more and do more.
Sessions.
We said we had some more sessions with the kids.
Yes.
But what I did learn, and as you know, I'm a reflector. I go back and I think about what I did and how we were navigating. But what I did see a pattern of is that I did overcome it.
Yes.
There was always a tomorrow.
Yes.
And that's what helped influence my belief system. I don't know how it's going to come. but it's
You
going
don't
to
have
work
to
out.
have all
I
the
don't have to
answers.
have all the
And
answers.
that's the part, because I can get real
caught up in what's the plan?
What's the plan? I need to know how I'm gonna do this today. Before it happens.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So,
And see, and I mean, just in
gotta let go.
Gotta let go. Gotta let go.
So
That's what
it is deep, and I agree with you on that. And even looking at my life now, I do well for myself. I live in a beautiful home. I have a really blessed life. I don't want for anything. So
need for nothing.
Want for anything. And so where does this thought process
don't know.
fit in? It's an unnecessary belief that I'm actively working on letting go.
But it was
I think
taught.
a lot of
it was
people,
taught to us.
It was taught, and it
taught.
can get ingrained. And that's why I wanted to just put it out there, because I'm sure there's other people out there that kind of experience the same thing. And you have to know that it has to be brought up, confronted. Not that you can let it go, but most of the time you have to. What I feel is that I have to integrate it within my system and relax into it and flow with it. So I feel like I've had a breakthrough in that space.
I agree. Can we talk a little bit about, like, you made just a little slight comment about it coming back from slavery and how we had to show up or had to behave, or any of that. And I think in our country, in our society as a whole, I think we still carry a lot of those beliefs and trauma about how we as African Americans or different national. I won't even label that only to Black people.
No, because a lot of different cultures
here. You feel like you have to show up a different way. Some of what our parents taught us as we went into corporate America, or to behave out when we out in society, it was partially to help us with being safe,
yes,
and making sure that we behaved ourselves in a certain way so that we could come home. People talk about how Black people have to say that to their children, especially when you have males. Young boys.
Yeah,
that's something that we have to learn how to behave in society. And so that type stuff, Bernie, when we talk about what we have had to carry over through hundreds of years in our culture as a Black person, it's still here. It's still here and ingrained in us. And I believe some of it, even for those who might offend or who may carry some of the power, I don't know what reference you want to say, but if those people who are running society, who are police, whoever, they also carry certain beliefs about what they are doing and how they're doing it, and feeling like that's what they supposed to do.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It's all about what we were taught and experienced and end up doing. So it comes for hundreds of years.
It does. It does. And it makes it to where, what part of it are you going to focus on?
I know. True.
What part of it are you going to focus on? And like you said, are you going to make a decision to transition past that? Because it is still a lot going on today in today's climate. And we're not going to go into politics or anything, but both political, day-to-day, race, all types of different relations. And it depends on, like, I make a conscious decision in myself not to be hyper focused on those type of things, and to be more focused on my now in my own personal experience. Like, I do care about the whole and how it impacts, but I think the best way for me to impact the whole is to show up as my best self and give the best of myself that I can in my day to day.
I agree. I mean, I see that in you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, I do. I see
it's
it
intentional.
It is intentional. And I pay attention to the politics. I'm very in tune, I guess you would say. Not day to day, because I agree with you. If you let that feed you too much, it becomes obsessive almost. And
that becomes a belief.
It becomes a belief. You take on what you feed into yourself, right? It's something you know, you've always kind of coached us about, like, you be intentional about what you watch on TV. Pay attention to what you listen to.
Yes.
All of those things are influencing your beliefs, right? Yes. But in my community minded philosophy, I do listen. I'm very particular about who I listen to.
Yes.
I am very intentional there, but I may not act. I don't even advocate, make grand gestures about people or politics or any of that. but I pay attention.
Oh, yeah.
I do.
Yes.
I do.
I won't say I'm totally tuned out.
No, you don't tune out.
I don't tune out, but I'm not deeply invested in it.
Like,
I did at one time. I did at one time, and it didn't feel good.
So, see, you did the opposite. You was like, I ain't doing that again. I'm not doing that again.
Step back.
Yeah.
I'm going to step back from that just so I could, have a different experience, because mine is all about feeling good.
Yeah.
And that's a belief system that I've been developing, because I had experiences in life where I had a belief that I had to be so strong. I had to show up. I had to be certain things to certain people.
I
had a belief like that.
I still do.
Just because
I still do, Voni.
Yes.
I have never let that go. I know on our notes here, I read something that said, when was the last time I felt free?
Why are you gonna jump in? I wanted to ask you that.
I'm sorry. I got off. When you said that, when you were saying how you feel, like it just resonated with me when I
talk about it, sister.
But I haven't. I don't know that I had that experience, because I carry these beliefs that I'm the big sister, I'm the mama, I'm the grandma, I'm the wife. I'm all of those. I'm a leader, manager.
Yes.
I have this role that I'm supposed to go do. So and I get resentful about it. Now, don't get me wrong, because I get mad about it. Niecee, she knows, because I get resentful, because she gets to see the different
raw body
that the rest of the world don't necessarily always see in me. Everybody get an inkling.
You intentional on how you show up in the world.
I am very intentional on how I show up in the world, but it carries with it
something. So let's dig into this a little bit, because
it's a belief I carry. Why haven't I let it go?
Same thing where that's why I put that down.
You knew this. She knew this. She set this up. See? All right. I'm ready.
I really want to understand, when was the last time you felt free? So when I talk about feeling free, I won't even say it has to be an extended amount of time where you had like a period of time in your life where you felt totally free, because in our experience, and we've been kind of on this journey together as sisters, the way our life is, we do hold certain responsibilities.
Okay.
But I'm talking about little micro free.
Okay.
I like the micros.
Micros.
Yeah.
Give me an example, because I'm trying to because I'm sitting there feeling like I ain't never been free.
But so mine's that I lean on and go to when I'm feeling distressed to help myself calm down. As you remember when I did the Dr. Joe Dispenza Walk for the World. And we went to Lewis Park and we walked, and it was times in the meditation, the walking meditation, where you stop, you put your hands on your head, you close your eyes, and I remember in that particular moment, I was there. I was at Lewis Park. The sun was shining, birds was chirping, the trees was bright. You know, I love the spring and summer because nature is all alive. Yeah. And people were walking the track around there, the path. And, it was such a relaxing environment. I remember standing there, and it was one of those moments. Oh, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. It was one of those moments where I was standing there and I had my eyes closed and I was just feeling the sun beaming on me. I could hear the birds chirp, but I was listening to the meditation in my ears, but I was having this moment of the environment that was out around me. And in that moment, I felt free. I remember opening my eyes and I put my hands up to the sky, just taking it in. And so that was like one moment in time. That was quite an experience, by the way. But it was a moment in time where I felt so free. Now, I almost had a hard time driving. I had to sit there after the whole experience. I had to like bring myself back. Like when I went to the float that time. You get those out of body experiences almost where you have to pledge yourself back into the world. I gotta come back because I might hurt somebody out here. I ain't really here.
I can't drive now.
I can't drive. Okay. So it was like that. And so even after that, I can't say that I like came home and for weeks on end, I felt all free. But in that moment, because it's a challenge for me to go around and find moments of feeling totally free.
I cannot.
You can't think of on a roller coaster. Dance.
Oh, dance. Yeah, dance.
Have you ever? Can you recall a
now
time
that
when
is
you
a
were
time.
younger?
Yes, now that is.
Okay.
Thank you. See, I'm thank you. Thank you. I gotta reach. You know, she knows me well enough to know what excites me,
Yes.
etc. Yes, when I'm dancing.
Did you feel free?
Yes. And kind of like you just described, that energy, that excitement, your skin and your brain, and you're listening, you like you said, you're listening, you're feeling, and you're moving and doing.
You're totally present.
You're just totally present, and in that you are not. There's nothing else in the world happening but that. Yes, I've had that so many times.
And you and my oldest daughter Amber, her and Amber have that in common, because what you're describing. Oh, I keep getting chills. I love this kind of stuff. When I think about Amber dancing,
we tune out everybody else.
Oh my God, it's like she's the only person in the world. Like,
I do.
Yes.
You're right. That is one place that I really feel free.
You need to find a way to nurture.
I know
that.
You tell me that all the time, and I ain't done it yet. And I
gotta go where your excitement is.
Yes, I know. And then
it's those so bad moments.
And then what makes it so bad, because in social media and when I see it on TV, it brings out a physical emotion in me.
Your spirit's calling.
My spirit is saying, it makes me cry. It's not a sad cry. It's not by any means.
That movie that cry on? I don't mean to interrupt you, but
no,
was it Save the Last? No, what? Where live your dream? It's not as hard as it may seem. Where the black lady, the white lady, and the black guy. It's an old movie.
Girl, you got me trying.
You know what I'm talking about? Where she went to the audition and she had messed up, and then she had to start over, and she danced with the chair. Somebody tell us what it is.
I'm doing. I can't even remember.
You know what? It's hard as it may seem.
No,
you know I'm terrible. Okay, but so I'm sorry to throw you off, but it's like, feel it, because every time I watch that dance, that's what made me think of it. I cry because I like to dance too. I can't just say that it's my super passion as you and Amber, but I feel it. So I resonate with you when you say that.
Yes, that is
like you feel it.
So she helped me recognize
all your cells in your body come alive, and that's how I felt that day.
Okay,
standing there, it was like I was the most alive that I had been. And then, and I wanted to stay there.
I think too, and I call it, when you're dancing, it carries. Once you know how to dance, right, or you learn,
if you're a natural
dancer, you really know you have a rhythm. You know you're listening to the music, right, and that's where, for me, internally, it's like, I have shut out the rest of the world.
Yes.
I know my routine. I know what I feel and need to do.
You go within your body
myself. And the rest of the world doesn't even live almost.
And you just execute and it just flows out.
I know. And I've had some of my best performances at talent shows, things. Just being that.
And is that where you feel free?
It is. I have to say.
So when you're in emotional distress.
Yeah. That's what I need to go do. I need to go dance.
Or even if you can't dance in that moment, go to that feeling. You'll be amazed at how it can help self-regulate you. Even if you tap into that moment, even the memory on it.
Yes.
Because you will physically be
I feel it when we were just talking about it.
Yes, I know you'll go back there, and it can help shift your state of being when you're in the
heart rate, your anger, anything to help you feel that. That's a good call out, Niecee.
Yes.
Good call out. She got me though, y'all. She know me better than anybody else.
I had this. Why you had to read that? Because that was my surprise question.
She left the paper here. She prepped it, and then you said something to trigger me, because I was like,
I want to ask her that.
Yeah,
because I think a lot of us go through life and we don't feel free. The way in America. Especially, and it depends on what kind of life you're living.
We don't know anything outside of America. I don't know. I mean, I watch other cultures. I travel.
Yes.
But what I don't know or understand is our filter through other media.
And even some people in America, they may feel free, but I I've even seen and watching what's happening in the world and the exposure we have in social media and the internet and things like that. Even the wealthy people are sometimes not feeling free. You think if you got all the
money don't answer.
It
don't.
Money,
It's not based in money. It's not based in finance.
And I'm sure there are some people that have positioned themselves to where they're living a life of freedom, and they're out there. But the typical person that is moving around day to day in America, I don't think we're moving around in freedom. No. And I hope that we can get to, I believe we will get to a space that things will shift and change and to where we can move into a space of nurturing ourselves more.
Yes.
Self-care, self-awareness, and everybody's looking out. Everybody's looking out, but I feel like all the answers are within. Yeah. When you nurture the inside and let it flow out, then you're so much better. And that brings those moments of freedom.
Agree. I do.
So let me ask you this, because that was one of the things we kind of talked about when you say money is not all the answer, but it's all about all these beliefs and things like that. Because I brought up, let me ask you, what do you think about how people relate to food and how they nourish their bodies as it relates to beliefs? And I know that's a really touchy subject because I'm not in a space to try to offend anybody on how they eat or their relationship with food, but I do believe that some of the core beliefs that we developed as youngsters or where you fit into a culture kind of has an impact on that.
It does. You could go all the way back again from slavery to what you and your culture were taught in preparation of food. We eat our share of soul food, if you want to call it, fried greens, oxtails, neck bones, whatever you want to call it, right? So we've all been sometimes over salting things, doing different things to our food, and that's all based on how we were taught.
Right? Because if all we had was chitlins, I don't eat chitlins, but if that's all you had, then that's what you ate, and that's what you fed your kids,
turkey necks, whatever, these are little things that everybody's like, well, you got the scrapings or whatever,
bones,
the scrapings of whatever was left, but it became like a delicacy, right? Now, even when we were able to not just be limited to those things, we still fall back to them, right?
That's what we know.
And it's because that's what we was taught. That's what we experienced, and it become that. Just like we kind of started out saying, that's how we were. But I also believe that, again, your environment, your attitude about food, how you buy your food, like maybe where you taught how to go grocery shop or different things. So it's still about your upbringing.
Do you feel like you can afford to get healthy food?
Healthy food,
because I've heard that from a lot of
it's like people. Everybody say, "Well, I can't afford it. The healthy stuff is too expensive." It can be. I'm not begrudging that. Organic, all these references and all that. So it can be financially draining, but I am saying also some of it is what is fresh. Where you talk? Are you eating canned vegetables versus going to the frozen or to the fresh
or to the produce section?
Do you have transportation to be able to go get what you need? Do you
have to go?
You live in a food desert and you don't have enough stores around you to make it you to be able to go. So therefore, you have to purchase certain things. So that's why I say your environment influences your eating habits and what you have around you. How do I say it? I go to the grocery store. I can be an emotional eater sometimes, right? And so I think that can be taught and a part of what you're doing as a coping mechanism. Some people use food to go be a part of how they go soothe themselves. And that can be taught. I watched our mom do it. It was something I did. I had one ice cream.
I've done it.
Ice cream is one of mine.
That's yours.
That I have done. But again, it's what you observe, it's what you see, and then once you, I call it, feel that soothing. Even if you are not really receiving a soothing thing, it's about how you feel when you're doing it. And you feel like you're calming down, or you feel like you're leveling out, and it might be horrible.
It trickles out things in your mind, and then your body starts to crave it, and you want to do it again and again.
So
I agree.
And
I
then
agree.
people who buy too much or buy some of the wrong things, it's usually based in something.
It's a belief.
It's a
And
belief.
some of it to me
And
is based in, and it's an environment, but a talk thing. And
Yeah.
okay, say you're living in, let's just say, a life of poverty,
Mm-hmm.
and this is how you grew up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get some food. Food's already, you're like, ooh, these things have become more expensive and things like that. And so you've had times where you were hungry
Mm-hmm.
and you had to eat the same thing
Over
over
and
and
over.
over for an extended period of time, or there just wasn't what you couldn't just go in and pick what you wanted.
Mm-mm.
It was
We had
just
to
not
eat
available.
what was cooked.
Yeah,
You
like
bet
Bonnie
not-
doesn't eat potato soup to this
To
day
this
because
day.
of that, and I
'Cause-
eat potato soup to this day because of that.
But
I
just
love it.
let's tell why.
Yes,
We were poor. We would have it
often.
and it had to last for days.
Yes,
and it was a big pot of it, and all we had was potatoes, maybe some cheese,
bacon,
bacon or certain things, and so I won't eat it to this day.
Yes,
so it's a trigger for me. But go ahead.
If you lived in that environment, then you believe that if you have more, like say for instance, now all of a sudden you got some food stamps, and you could go off to the store and buy whatever you want, and then you might tend to overindulge because you have this belief that you might not have it again sometime in the future.
So you're gonna splurge and have this little thing. Yeah,
these things happen. You know,
they do. And people look at it and say, I can't believe they spending them on that. Well, you don't understand their experience.
You don't understand.
And you gotta go understand why.
I get it. And I understand. And or they might go out, or I've done that myself, especially when I first got in a position where I could dine out on a regular. Then I wanted to get the biggest thing
on the menu.
I want all that shit. Give it to me. You know,
so get the steak, the lobster, whatever you want.
Yes, I want to really indulge and experience. I wasn't looking like, what's the healthiest thing for me here, and what is going to nourish my mind, body, and spirit. I was not thinking anything like that when I was looking at the menu. Now I'm more mindful a lot of times. I might indulge still when I go out, but it's not as rampant as it was when I first stepped into that space.
Yes. Now I'm dealing as I age. Now I'm dealing with, okay, what's going to give me heartburn? What's going to get...
real talk.
You know, that's real. That's real.
Yes.
But it's still being more conscious about what you're eating and more intentional. But it's not due to lack or a thought process that I'm going to overindulge or do anything, for me at least. Yeah. So that's
but these things happen. So I was thinking about that.
It's a good point.
There's a lot of interconnectedness and weaving, and not just about from our parents. Like you were saying, Bonnie, it's your environment, it's your culture, it's what's going on in the world at this time. So I'm always thinking about when I had that experience during the breath work. I cried really hard because I was thinking about what I had delivered to my children and my grandchildren. What have I projected onto them to affect their beliefs? And they have to accept it or reject it. I always believe that you have that decision. However, it still pained my heart.
That you
and I asked them for forgiveness.
And
I'm thankful that they all still love me and care for me and talk to me.
And come around
they accept me for who I am. And I've been in some really dark places in my life, but I've doing the work to transition past those phases of my life and live in a space of love and light.
The growth.
To be able to
you really focus on your inner self and personal growth. Absolutely.
That's priority for me.
I've even continuous learning about that.
Yes.
Even following up on this breath work was a new element in your spiritual journey.
In my journey, and I'm deep into it. I love it. I want to know everything.
All right.
I want to know everything. The practice, it feels so good. I did it this morning, and it lights up your day. Now, I did find that I didn't want to go to sleep last night. Like, is it giving me...
it must stimulate you somehow.
Yes.
Because your endorphins are just kind of like, I ain't sleeping. I ain't sleeping. We just got a little stimulant here. We can't do that. Yeah.
So, working on yourself. But that's a belief that I've been developing on my own. But it's like the accepted or rejected thing. I didn't want to keep living the way I was. I knew something had to change. And I remember when I was deep into my alcoholism in the last days, and I'll share this. I talk about my alcoholism a lot, and I probably will continue to on this show because it was a huge part of my life. And when I used to drink, and I used to, towards the end especially, I used to get mean.
She was mean.
I was mean. And I mean, I'd slap strangers. I could be out somewhere and somebody say the wrong thing to me. I'd come back from down the street.
And God bless our brothers.
Yeah,
brothers.
And different people.
I don't even know. They used to tell me, Bonnie Niecee hit me.
Protect me. The universe protect me.
They used to say, Bonnie Niecee hit me. I'm like, what are you doing over there hitting your brother? We didn't fight like that. We don't do that. But she was mean. She was mad. I felt like
mad. I was hurt.
I
was not. And so one of the things that I knew about myself is that within, like when people say, "Bro, Niecee, we're gonna record you and show you how you be acting now, and you need to get it together." And I wanted to get it together. I didn't want to be there, but nobody knew that on the inside that I was crying and that I was like, the real Niecee is in here. I'm in here, y'all. But I didn't know quite how to transition out of it. I'm thankful that I did. So my heart goes out to anybody that is still in
that process,
in the grips of alcoholism, drug addiction, or any type of addiction. Smoking, drinking, food, anything. It can get you in the grips, and it's a challenge to pull yourself out.
Yes.
And I remember I used to listen to, what was that, Soldier of Love?
Oh, yeah.
And Sade. Oh, that's one of the things I'd be like, Soldier of Love. Yeah, because on the inside, man, I know. So I ride. I got the will to survive. And then it just, there go them chills again. And so nobody knew it. So when you transition out of it and develop a new belief and start building from the ground up, because I tore my life all the way down. And so when I started building my life all the way back up, I had to develop new beliefs in order to sustain it. Or else I feel like I would have kind of moved back into
But when you were practicing that, this is a question I have for you that I get it. I do understand what you're saying.
Did I explain it well?
No, you did. Excellent.
Understand me?
What I would like to help others understand. So when we say I had a different belief system, how did you recognize that you knew you were actively making a different choice? I get that part. Do you do any reflection and say, "Oh, I'm changing"? Oh, okay. Or did you just say, "I'm going to start doing this, and this," and you didn't even really look back? Or
right?
How do you?
Because when I was in the grips of addiction, I was on autopilot.
Okay.
Almost at different times, my internal system says, "Time to take a drink." I'm not really giving it much thought.
Okay.
And so after I had my last moment of drinking, it was a terrible night. I ended up sleeping outside, sleeping in a hallway like a real life bum. And I said, if I make it past this, because I thought I was going to die. I think I had a touch of alcohol. I had alcohol poisoning. Oh. Yes. And so I was like, if I could, I was so weak. I was sick.
She probably wasn't eating.
Yeah, I never ate when I drank. If you could get me to eat at the end, you were lucky, and I might fall asleep on the plate. Yeah, wake up food on my face. So it's like when I woke up and I was so sick and I was hurting because I got injured that night, and I was like, if I can make it out of this, I will never drink again. I will leave the alcohol behind.
But had you said that other times?
Not with that sincerity and finality.
Something shifted. Okay.
I had I'm a try.
Okay. That's the
attitude.
Difference. Okay.
You know, I feel some kind of way about the I'm a try, because anything that I've let go, I used to smoke wacky tobacco.
You use a fine
I used to drink. I used to smoke cigarettes. I still drink coffee. You know, so it's like whenever
she tried to stop that too. But she said, "I'm gonna try to stop."
Yeah,
that's where
I'm still in the trying mode with the coffee. Yes, I'm gonna try to cut back. But I've noticed that anytime that I've said that I'm going to try, I'm not wholeheartedly invested. Okay. And that's a belief that I have about myself and others. I have to say I feel that way about it. If you're saying, I hope, I'm going to try, I'm going to give it my best shot, you're not there yet.
Yeah, okay.
Because when you do it. So to answer your question, once I came to that finality, I had to slow down. I took days. I kind of withdrew from everybody.
Okay.
I'm in a withdrawal phase at the moment in my life, just because I go through these different phases where I have to step back and transition to my next, I guess. But I had to step back, be still, and think about what I was doing and where I was going. So it wasn't like I just like, I got a new belief. I had to slow down, evaluate, think about some things, reflect, and decide that I wanted to do something different.
Yep. And that's the same thing I'm saying about the
that
money
it was
piece.
going to happen. I believed wholeheartedly. And so that might be my answer.
There, you just said it out loud. That's why I'm trying to get you. I'm trying to guide you there. But when you say that, that was the exact same thing that I had to do about money, about what I wanted.
Yes.
You just got, it's the same.
It's the same thing.
You just got to get there.
Yes.
So right now, have you been saying with your money, beliefs that I'm gonna try to have a different belief, or you saying I'm gonna? You see what I believe? That I believe different. It ain't like I'm gonna. You got to be there already. Exactly. No. See, you just said it to yourself. You just said it out loud and just. You did it. You did it. I love it.
Okay, growth happening on the show.
And see how and this is that. But to me, that's what I do enjoy about our conversations. I feel like we talk about this. We pour into each other.
Yes.
When mom's here, or when my other siblings, or when we're interacting, that is something that I appreciate, is that you're trying to,
it's authentic,
uplift each other, be your best self. Do we still act a fool or have a fun, crazy time? Because that's what we were talking.
Can we be messy?
No. Yeah, we can. We can. We're like anybody else. We are not a perfect group, but we love.
We do.
And we want to see our best for each other.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels good. And that's where I know when we bring our family together, even when it's a lot of work, that too is an energy that feels good to me because of how we pour into each other through motivation, through listening, just listening, to be an ear for each other, just to be an ear. Somebody's going through a rough time. Let them talk it out. Let them talk through it. If they ask for some feedback, want some feedback, you give it to them, help them get there. But it's just,
I agree.
It's how we respond and nurture each other. So that's what I would just say.
What else happened at Sister Girl Sessions? I'm just going to say this. I really do want us to have another girls' night.
I know.
I do. And maybe we'll do a little recording. We can't record everything because there's some things going on.
It's a messy. And we told you.
And it's time to pour into each other. And we can be messy. And there are many facets to our personality.
Exactly.
But I like to show some footage of kind of how we get down and what we do. But yes, we need to plan that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like you said,
last time we had to go get an Airbnb.
We're going to have to.
We're going to have to. All right. We'll get it done.
We'll get it done.
All right. It's going to be a better house than we had the last time.
Yes.
That was not big enough. It wasn't. And Mom was there at the last one we had. Mm-hmm. So it's been a couple years since we've done one. We are going to 3.
Yes.
Wow. Into 3 years.
Yes.
Wow. All right. Now, one thing we didn't talk about in beliefs that I see on your notes is around handling conflict. Now, that's a taught behavior sometimes, or observation environment.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We talked to y'all a little bit about how we grew up. When we moved at a certain stage in our lives to Parker Square, different community, very family oriented, but it could be rough. People tested you, wanted to see who you were, what you were about. And we were talking and you were saying, Niecee and I are very different in how we handle conflict. I'm more of a verbal person. Probably if you say certain things to me, I'm going to respond back. Bernice listens. She don't respond. You will see the emotion on her. I do.
If you know me.
When I know her, we don't know life without each other, right? So I can always tell when something has impacted her. People who don't really know her are sometimes oblivious to it. I see it immediately and know. I'm like, we got a problem because she's not happy. And her children know it. I mean, don't get me wrong.
No. Yes.
But some of how we address conflict was taught to us.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You couldn't be bullied. You got to stand up for yourself. You better not come up in this house crying and you better defend yourself, and I'm gonna lock you out. I mean, this literally
happened to us.
They said, "Now I'm lock you out this house. You ain't gonna be coming up here crying all the time. You're gonna have to learn how to navigate this environment." Now, were we violent kids? No. Were we out there going and fighting every week no? That wasn't it. But look at her, like you was. I was. Niecee was a little bit.
I have strong feelings about this.
Yeah, yes. But it was something that was ingrained in us.
It was taught to us.
It was taught.
So yeah, let's talk about it.
I know this is how we differ.
That's how in beliefs, and that was embedded into us that you have to be able to defend yourself in this world, and sometimes it will take violence.
Yes.
And when we moved back to the neighborhood, to the Jets, to the projects, and I was 5 and you were 7, and like we talked about on our first
episode
session, that we take our toys outside and play.
We take them from you out of something.
Yeah. And they treat us real bad, and a lot of times it was the boys. And so we run away and went back into the house and tried to go tell mom and them they are. And so mom and daddy
we
were like,
no lot of
like we live here in the projects now, so you have to be ready to defend yourself. So you're going to have to go back outside, and either you're going to win that fight or you're going to have to come back in here and deal with me. So,
you like,
we get pushed back out the door. This literally happened to us. We had to go back outside. I know it happened to me. I remember looking at the door, and the screen door was locked. I'm like, so now you got to go out here and face the people, and then you got to fight. Yeah. And so I was small, so I'm within this.
Yeah, she did. You didn't grow. You didn't. You were always a small, short.
Yes,
as a kid, you were pretty short.
I was pretty small,
and she taller than me now.
Yes, but I was kind of petite as a child, and I used to get picked on a lot, and so I had to go out there and give it my best shot. So then Daddy started taking us in the basement and teaching. He used to box with Golden Gloves.
Yeah.
So he used to go down and teach us
how to box.
Yeah, how to defend, how to block.
Don't hold you. Don't do it.
Like if somebody comes at you, do this. We know how to do it. We learned officially. And it's like, don't go out there. You will lose if you do not think. And
he's like, and if somebody look like they gonna hit you, you might as well hit them first. It was like it's a whole thing.
And we're not trying to promote violence.
No,
this is
not
just
at all.
our experience and what we had to happen. So one of the things that I know, like you said, I'm not an arguer. So people, I say we didn't fight every week. I felt like I fought a lot.
Okay,
I did have to fight a lot when we were as I was growing up, but a lot of it was because I didn't say a lot. And so then if I had a fight with somebody and it was perceived that I won, then somebody was always up the chain that's looking at you like,
I'm a tester.
I could do it. And then they'd start in on me. And a lot of times I would not say anything to you. If you arguing or talking about me or something, I'd just be looking at you. When I go home and I internalize, and then I go home and I start thinking about what I could do to you. So I'm developing a plan. And so I'm developing a plan on how I'm going to execute, put all my skills. And so if you keep it up and then you come across my path, or I might just get fed up and come after you. And I might be ready, but most of the time people thought maybe I was a bully, but I never pursued anybody that hadn't already messed with me a whole lot of times. Now, when I got to that point, and I'm not going to argue with you. Like, you going, I ain't never been that person. So by the time I come for you, it's too late.
It's on.
I might come in your house. I did.
You did do one girl that way.
I did 2 girls that way. But, I'm coming, and now here we are, and everybody, Bernice is a bully. No, Bernice ain't no bully. Bernice was a product of her environment.
Now, you had one period in your life where you was, after we saw Roots for the first time, you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And we were in we're going to talk about that. We'll talk about that in another episode, but she did do that one time. I do remember that. Mama got her back home. She got in trouble at school. We didn't get in trouble at school. We couldn't get in trouble at school.
That was one of the few times I got. Twice that year. I was off the chain that year. Twice that year. I got a woman that time put that girl head in the toilet stool.
Oh, see?
And then the Roots thing. But yeah.
But no, you didn't. And the only time I would have, I'm going to say the only time, most of the time when I had conflict or ever had to fight, was usually defending her. Where some
had
older,
to jump in, somebody else,
older, we had to protect each other. Because if I came home and this is even taught to us. So let's think about this. Remember that time, Daddy, you had got into it with somebody so many times. I was like, Daddy, I am tired of fighting and going. And he lit into me saying, if you come in this house and I find out you was not there to help support and defend your sister, again, you're going to have to deal with me. Mm-hmm. Now, internally, I was like, this girl fighting too much. I don't even want to go out here and fight like this out there. Yeah. But I had gotten fed up with the fighting, you know? Yes. But then I hear your parents turn on you and like, you better, or you gonna
get jumped on.
And I hear you was there and you didn't do nothing about it. It was on. I was fearful. I had fear of my parents in that respect. Yes. So it's not like you want to condone violence or anything like that, but these were things that were taught to us based on our environment, that we defended each other, we supported each other, and it was just because it was kind of somewhat of a responsibility that you felt you were supposed to do.
It's like I mentioned to you, my daughter Sheena said to me, that I had to recognize that she is so right. Growing up, I'm not naturally a fighter. Okay. I'm not a violent person. Mm-mm. I'm really a calm person, you know. Mm-hmm. And so because of the environment that I was in, and the expectations surrounding it, I had to do what I had to do to survive within that environment. And that's just kind of how it played out. She's like, Mom, that's not even who you are. You just were a product of your environment, and you had to do what you had to do in order to make it through that experience. And that is so true. And I think there are a lot of people that experience life in that way.
Girl, I thought of another one.
What?
Where Mom taught us this one is that and we have a lot of girls in our family. And remember Mama telling us that as girls, we don't date the same guys. If one of your cousins or sisters or somebody dated that guy or something like that, even liked them. If they liked them, but they didn't like them back.
That's a good one.
You couldn't do it.
I still hold that.
I see, and that's what I'm saying. And I think we taught our girls that.
Yes.
And then if somebody violated, oh my God, they get together. Girl, she likes so and so. We don't do that. Because why? We taught them that. Our parents taught us. They taught them. That just came to my head.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. But that was a belief our mom taught us.
And mine extends outside of my family. Mine extends to my friends. Even if it's some guy that liked you and try to turn around.
Because you're not going to be able to it's going to be difficult to maintain a relationship with that friend.
Yes.
If you want it with your family, you can't mess it up. That was the philosophy about the why.
Yes.
You couldn't do that.
Got to maintain. But that was a good one.
That was a good one.
You accepted or rejected. You decided to carry. I carried that one with me.
I did too.
Yes.
But there are so many little things as you kind of started out that you learned from your parents that you carried over. You either took some of them and you did it, and you did the same thing. Because when we were in our 20s, we were partying, card playing, doing all that same stuff. Kicked it. Me and Niecee used to throw the best parties.
I used to have some lit parties.
Yep. We used to have good parties. Everybody wanted to come. But at the same time, that was what we were taught. Now, when we got to a certain phase in life, I know I did especially, I was like, okay, I'm done with that. That's not going good. I wanted to be a better example for my daughter. She's starting to see Mama do certain things. So I was like, One of my old bosses said, she's starting to judge you, Voni. She's going to be paying attention to what you're doing. And I paid attention to that.
Yeah, I was a late bloomer.
I paid attention to it.
It took me a minute to get to myself. But by the time I did, Tata and BB Liberty were already born. It was justice.
Yeah. That you got yours.
Man.
But my daughter said something to me yesterday that made me aware of a belief that it was just through action that I taught her. And
her
watching me. So one of the things
you never talked about it with her or anything.
We talked about it in that I carry this philosophy.
What it is. Okay.
is that you teach your children how to love by your actions, by how you engage with other adults, how you or each other, your spouse, your siblings. I believe that in how you argue, all of those things resolve conflict. You're teaching young people how to love, especially when they love you, right? These are the people that they love, so they don't want to see you hurt. So they, I say all that to say, one of the things that Jackie said to me is that, Mom, I never saw my parents argue. I knew that. I did. And I was pretty intentional about it. And I know it was based, again, Voni being somewhat rebellious, in watching my parents argue. Okay. So I did not want to inflict that on her. At least that's what my intention was. You see where I'm going? Now, I remember my husband and I at that time in our lives, he worked nights, I worked days. So it worked out that where she was usually at school or somewhere else, where she really never saw us resolve a conflict. Now, she might see us sometimes where we were together her entire life, right? Lived together, been together. So she saw us constantly. She would see periods when we were not speaking to each other, because you know how it goes. But what she did not see is how we resolved the conflict. And I didn't realize
she has challenges with
and
that.
now she says, I have challenges with that. I don't know what to do. Or I haven't seen it demonstrated.
Yes.
So that's where you
that
say
was real vulnerable.
That was for her to share that with me. us. And it took me, I had to take it in, to say, yeah, I did. I did. And I apologized. I didn't show her. She said, because I can go from, and she's strong willed, just like her mom. But she also, you go shoot up to 10 very fast. And so she said she knows she's not necessarily handling it right, but she didn't know how.
Yeah. She either shut down or
go way too far.
Yeah.
And get messy. So it's a growth thing. And I know as parents, and here we are, Gen Xers, and we raising the millennials and Gen Z.
And here come the alphas.
And here come that. Oh, is that the name? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's where Marier
is. Okay. So we got all these babies that we are trying to influence. But here
in
we
a
are.
Positive way.
We're still learning and growing.
Yes. And that's the thing, is that the accepted or rejected or developing your own beliefs. Sometimes you can take bits and pieces, but you have to come to what works best for you and helping you live a nice, healthy life.
Yes.
Because we can't help what environment we were put into, and then your kids have to learn that you are very flawed.
Yeah, and you're human, and you make mistakes,
and you're learning and growing along your way.
You weren't perfect, and it took me a while to learn that my parents weren't. It was stuff that I took from them, like you said. I accepted or rejected certain things, but at a certain point, and I was an adult when I just stopped and said, "Dang." They were flawed too, because it was bad when I started recognizing I was making mistakes and doing things, and I had to stop and say, "Well, don't." When I was sitting there getting mad at Mom and them, thought I knew everything.
Doing the same thing.
Yeah. So it's what you thinking about? What you thinking? I saw your eyes rolling up.
Yes, I'm thinking. Yes, I'm just thinking about my future generations coming in, and how I really strongly desire to be. To show up as my best self, and what I leave as my legacy whenever it's time for me to transition is that they'll have a positive reflection of me when they go by, even with my flaws and
think about this,
things like that.
When you said that, it gave my spirit a good smile, because Mama did the same thing.
She did, and she left us all smiling.
Yeah, and that's so now we knew our mamas are now mom. Girl. Mama was an alcoholic too, right? She would tell you she had her time, and she went through the whole transition, wishing, wanting to be better, and all of that. Now there's a generation of our kids never knew Mama drank, never knew her that way, never seen her that way. And when you said that, it gave my spirit. I was like, oh, I bet you that's how Mama felt too.
Yes,
wanted to be just better, and I
get
it too.
A positive influence
on your children and your family. Yes,
and I know influence. I don't know that that's the word for me.
Okay,
I say not necessarily influence, but a representation, a positive representation, a positive role model, somebody
but that
that
is
you
influence.
it does influence, but it's not like I'm setting out to get you to do something.
Okay. That's fair.
I just want to be a living example of someone who says, hey, I want the journey of life is to grow, learn, evolve. Once you stop growing, loving, evolving, then you might as well hang up your coat and lay down on the bed and never wake up again.
Right.
My journey's not over. I plan to be here for a long, long time. So it is. Not that influence is bad, that's just not my verbiage that sits right. My spirit.
You said it right. You're not trying to change them. You just wanted to be example.
I get walk their path.
Yes, I get it. No, that was good counter there. I totally understand.
Okay.
I do.
You get me.
I do.
Thank goodness. Because sometimes I even feel like people do be like, what this girl talking about?
That's okay. That's all right. We're not all meant to be understood by everybody.
No, we are not.
True. That is okay.
Not everybody's cup of tea. But those that get me, get me.
Yeah.
Those that
love you.
Yes.
Right. Exactly. And I feel the same about my journey.
I get you.
I kind of get like, I don't care if you don't like me.
I
really don't.
I get you.
I mean, I'm going to try to be nice to you. If treat me good, I'll be a good partner, engage with you. But I'm
can't
okay.
live for other
I'm
people.
Okay though. Yes, yeah, I'm okay with me.
Yes, me too.
Okay
when you come to that point in your life, that feels good.
Yeah. Now that's come with age.
It does.
It's come with age that I had to learn to like myself.
I think our younger generations that are trying to find themselves and who they're going to be, because once you transition from childhood to adulthood and trying to plant your feet in how you're going to do life.
Yeah.
Stay encouraged if you somebody young out there that you will find your path, that you are a lot stronger than you might ever believe. And so hang in there, step into it with confidence, make the mistakes, keep pushing forward, learn from the mistakes, and then keep showing up.
Now, what was that pattern you just said? Grow. And using that same thought process, what was it? Grow. What was the other time you said?
I don't know.
Evolve. You said grow. Oh, darn thing. We done forgot the name. But
I speak from the spirit. So
she done forgot what she said. But what I guess
grow, learn, evolve.
Yes.
Grow, learn, evolve.
That is where you're telling the young people too. That's all you're doing in life.
Grow, learn, evolve. Okay, I had to come back.
All right, you had to go back to the Rolodex.
Learn, evolve. Right.
Yes, you got it. So that's what we have to leave for our babies or for the young people. Be patient. A lot of people who know me say this: have grace with yourself.
Man.
Have
love yourself.
Love yourself and have grace with yourself to know you will make mistakes. As long as you growing, learning, and evolving, you're going to be okay. That's it. Now, you see, we're about at an hour.
Oh, yes.
And our recording.
We're going to wrap this up. This has been fun.
It is. We always have a good time.
Going on this
yes, we could. But we learn so much about each other, even when we do this. We always surprise each other. After the sessions go off, we be like, Bonnie, I didn't know that. Or Niecee tell me that all the time. I didn't know that about you.
Yes.
But I still learn things about you too as we kind of talk and have our debates here. And so,
and if nothing else, this is something that we'll leave behind
for our babies.
That they'll say, what did they think about things like that? You know?
Yeah, who knows where technology be by then?
Oh, no.
But who knows? It's there. It's out there.
It's out there. If they've come across it and find it, or they want the kids to hold it or something, I don't know. But I believe that it'll help. If it helps one person, I know that's a good thing.
I love it.
So thank you all for joining us today and hanging in here with us. If you're still here, this has been a great session. If you have some thoughts on your beliefs, how they're developed, where you're at in your journey, and you want to share, leave us a comment. Always smash that like button. Subscribe, click on the notification button so that you'll be notified when we upload new sessions.
And share too.
Share it too. Yes. Thank you, Voni. I forgot that. Share it with somebody you think this session might help or that might resonate with them and where they are on their journey. And we will be back again. And until next time, peace.